Okay, so we still have COVID, but it's alright because it's given us the opportunity to make more content. We won't even let COVID stop us. We've got to keep the consistency. But in today's video, I'm going to be talking about autistic people in employment, or more specifically, my experiences of being in employment as an autistic person. So the National Autistic Society say that only 1 in 6 autistic people are in full-time employment. However, I've also found research saying that only 1 in 5 autistic people are in any kind of employment at all. I'm not 100% sure how true this information is, but whether it's true or not, it's an astonishing figure that it's such a low amount of autistic people are in employment. And why do we think this is? Do we think this is because employers are going out of their way to not hire autistic people? Or do we think it's just that autistic people are having a harder time finding a job that suits them? So, as mentioned in today's video, I'm going to be talking about my experiences more specifically, just because I'm only 18. I can't talk about every single area of employment because I've only had 3 jobs. The main thing I want to talk about is my 2 main jobs, actually. 2 main jobs I've had, which have both happened to be 0-hour contracts. So if you don't know what a 0-hour contract is, it means you're not contracted to do any hours. So every single week can be different. You can have 5 hours one week and 20 hours the next. The employer can give you as many hours as they like, but they also have the option not to give you any hours. And then on the other hand, you have the option not to take any hours that they do give you. Because you're not contracted to them, you're not obligated to take the hours. And originally, I didn't think I'd enjoy a 0-hour contract. You know, I like very much having a routine, and I like having things follow a schedule, which of course with a 0-hour contract, every week being different, every month being different, you know, there's no specific rota to follow because it's always changing. So I didn't think I'd like this originally. But after having 2 jobs that are 0-hour contracts, I've actually thoroughly enjoyed this. And I'm not sure why this is, because as mentioned, like I like stuff following a structure, and this is the complete opposite. Like sometimes it's 2 days before a shift and it either gets taken away or I get given another shift or my hours get changed. And it's not great, and it's not very accessible to autistic people, because I know when I first started it can become very stressful and overwhelming. And if I'm having a day at college, for example, where, you know, I'm not feeling right, I'm feeling a bit on edge, a bit overwhelmed, and then work comes along and changes my hours, of course it can throw me off quite a lot. So the majority of the time, I'm okay with 0-hour contracts. I think it's best suited to me, especially at a young age. It means that I can have as much free time as I want, really, but then take as many shifts as I want as well. It's very interchangeable with what you want to do in your lifestyle. Once again, it's not very accessible to autistic people, especially if a schedule or a routine was more integral to me as a person. I know it just wouldn't work out, which is why it's a shame that so many jobs these days are 0-hour contracts, especially for younger people. And I think that goes on to be a reason why such a small amount of autistic people do have jobs, just because this way of contracting hours purely doesn't work out for them. I consider myself very lucky to be in a position where I'm okay with how it works, but I know there are many people out there that aren't. And then let's talk about the interview process as well. A main trait that a lot of autistic people have is socializing, interaction, you know, trying to keep eye contact. And that's literally all the things you need to do for an interview. You need to go in there, you need to be confident, you need to be able to speak about yourself, you know, you need to be able to show yourself off in a good light while still keeping eye contact, which is why it's important to let employers know before an interview that you are autistic, so they know what to expect. Because as much as a lot of employers won't understand, because unfortunately we're still in a world where not everyone understands about autism, as much as all employers won't understand, you need to explain to them, look, I'm autistic. If you want me to come to this interview, then, you know, you may realize I might not be making proper eye contact, and they should make the adjustments needed to make the interview accessible to an autistic person. And if they don't, then it's not someone you want to work for anyway. If they aren't willing to go out of their way to make sure you're given an equal opportunity to everyone else, then it's not someone you want to work for. And I've once again been very lucky. My first job I had didn't have an interview for it at all. My second job I had an interview, but it was online, and it was barely an interview. It was more just asking for my details. And then my third one was a group interview, which was a bit more high pressure, because not only was I being interviewed, but I was also in front of like 15 other people. I very much had to have more confidence than I would in any other interview, but at the same time it helped to know that everyone else at that interview would be going through the same feelings as me, or almost the same feelings as me. So, there's just other people there with you, and luckily I was successful enough. So in terms of interviews, I've done okay, but they're not easy. And then going back to doing them online, in the current climate we're in with COVID and everything, it's becoming more and more common to hold interviews online, even though we don't need to anymore. Just because it's so easy, employers are realizing that they don't actually need to get you in person in order to interview you. And that's the thing, a lot of autistic people, including myself, aren't a big fan of phone calls. You need to have that real life interaction there, which is something you just don't get from online interview. And I think that's something that, unfortunately, it won't change with time anymore. It's going to stay online. With technology developing, it's only going to become more and more common. But yeah, that's just about all I have to say with my experiences in employment today. In future, I will be making other videos about employment, about more specific things that have happened, looking at what have happened with other people, discussing what I think needs changing, whether you should disclose having autism, all of that kind of thing. So I'll cover that all in the future. But thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, turn the bell on so you never miss an upload, and I'll see you in the next one.